Do you know your boss's goals and specific objectives? If you answered yes to that question, you're ahead of a number of your colleagues. If you answered no, then you have an opportunity to make up ground. We'll discuss some ways to do that in this episode.
Hi, I'm Rick Kendall.
And I'm Fred Ball.
Welcome to Management Mastery. The purpose of these podcasts is to share what each of us has learned about good and bad management in our combined over 40 years of experience, both as managers and executive coaches. During that time, we've coached managers at every level in companies from Fortune 100s to brand new startups in all major businesses, including nonprofits, government, and education. So whether you're just starting in your first management position or are an experienced manager looking to strengthen your management skills, we know our podcast will be valuable to you.
If you take the time to understand your boss's goals and specific objectives, it'll help you to understand what the boss is doing to move the department forward in achieving the company's objectives.
This then helps you to understand how your role fits into the department structure and be much more productive than someone who has little or no idea of the bigger picture. When you understand the bigger picture, there's many ways that you can be helpful to your boss to stand out as a team player.
Rick, that's an important point that you make about some people come in, have their head down, know what their role is, and just do their job and then go home. Others are willing to step back and observe and look at the bigger picture, and it is extremely helpful to them as far as both their success and their career is concerned.
Well, I think, too, it makes them more efficient in that they don't get sidetracked as easily. They know where what they're doing fits and what makes sense and what doesn't. So it's a win-win for somebody who pays attention.
Yes, and when we're coaching people, some people find it easier to really begin to understand their boss's goals and objectives, and others find it more difficult. So that's why we're going to investigate this some more. Let's take a look at the importance of understanding your boss's goals in more detail. We'll discuss some of the most important elements of understanding those goals, and then we'll discuss ways that you can be successful in helping to achieve them.
Yeah, and the first is strategic alignment. And this means just aligning your daily tasks and priorities with those of your boss's larger objectives. Like we said, getting focused on what's really important.
In general, you want to try to build rapport with your boss in both one-on-one as well as in group meetings. You want your boss to feel they can be relaxed and candid with you and that you're on their team. Ideally, this will encourage them to let you into their thinking about important issues that they might not otherwise bring up.
Right.
So this is really the first step in understanding your boss's goals.
Right. And as part of this approach, you want to try to schedule time to ask your boss about their priorities and their specific objectives. Also, what they see as a win for the year.
To the extent you can, try to focus on metrics. That is, ask how the boss will be measuring success in meeting the objectives. Try to get your boss to be as specific as possible, both in terms of progress toward attaining the goal or goals, and in terms of timing and deadlines. Whenever possible, you also want to be proactive. That is, take the initiative to help your boss.
Yeah, you want to begin by understanding your boss's working style. For example, are they open with their needs, or is it harder to identify them? Do they need information ahead of time, or are they fine with a spur-of-the-moment conversation? I worked for a guy who played everything very close to the vest, mainly because he was not real sure of himself. So he tended to be secretive and insecure. And it got to the point where when people finally figured, excuse me, when people finally figured out his working style, they had to go to other people that he either reported to or had interactions with, and to say, well, what were you talking about, so that you could understand the input. I mean, you really have to get to know how your boss works and deal with his own kind of personality foibles, as it were, so that you're not fighting against his predispositions when you can be working with them.
Yeah, it's always going to be a little bit easier when you have a boss who's more extroverted and willing to talk out what he's got on his mind than someone who's introverted and where it's a little bit more difficult to get at that. But it can be done.
Oh yeah. On the other hand, his boss, my boss's boss, had to expound on every possible alternative, and this is what ended up confusing my bosses. He wasn't really sure which of the various variations his boss had talked about was the one he really meant. So it really, the two of them together was quite a thing to deal with. Yes.
It's also important, just as you were saying, to try to determine what the boss cares most about. What is at the top of their overall agenda? What are their key priorities, both for the department and for themselves personally?
Right. And as much as possible, you also want to be aware of important deadlines, not just for you and the projects you're working on, but for your boss and the department. And this is key to understanding what to focus on at any given moment. I mean, what are the overall priorities? What's conflicting with getting stuff done, and what's more important?
So as a part of this, every morning, try to go over your tasks for the day to be sure you're focused on the activities that are most important to your boss as well as to your daily role. If you're not sure, ask your boss for clarification about priorities. And I just want to say that you can't lose track of your daily role. You know, that's important, but it's also important to try and do what the boss's agenda is.
Oh yeah, no, you've got to be able to keep more than one ball in the air, as it were. And also, if you notice a recurring problem, don't wait for someone else, like your boss, to tell you what to do. Take the initiative and suggest a solution or two to the problem. In fact, if possible, always have a solution or two to propose at any time you bring up a problem for discussion. One of my mentors said, telling me a problem without suggesting a solution is no help. Even if it's not the right solution, have a potential answer.
I agree.
Yeah.
You also want to be constantly working to improve your communication skills. For example, by tailoring your updates to be as concise and relevant as possible. Remember, the shorter the better. If your boss wants more information, they'll ask for it.
Right. And as we've said over and over, always be practicing your active listening skills. That is, 100% listening to the other person to be sure that you understand what they're saying, and don't be thinking about what you're going to say next.
That is so easy to say, and it is difficult to do.
Oh yeah, well, I think we all know that.
This also means listening for any possible implied needs during the conversation. Sometimes these can be as important, if not more so, than the stated needs. And if you're not sure, ask. Also, when you're updating your boss, focus on the impact and outcomes of your work, not on the unimportant details of how you did it. Again, if the boss wants more information, they will ask for it.
And finally, you need to understand and be sensitive to the flow of a meeting with your boss. That is, let your boss speak first, and be concise, solution-oriented, and proactive while remaining on the agenda or topic at hand. If there are other unrelated issues you want to discuss, wait till the end of the meeting and say that at some point you'd like to discuss the issue with your boss. Let them decide if now is the time or a separate meeting needs to be scheduled.
That's an important point. I agree. In summary, helping your boss to be successful demonstrates your value to the team and the company. By being involved with your boss's goals, you move from just executing tasks to understanding the why behind them. This promotes greater engagement and autonomy and can lead to better performance reviews because as you're helping your boss achieve success, your boss will be making mental notes that could even lead to a potential promotion.
We hope you have found this podcast useful and will come back again for more Management Mastery. If you have any comments about this or any of our episodes, or would like to find out more about our other services, including one-on-one coaching and group seminars for managers, visit our website at careercoachclass.com. Thanks for listening.